All right. So
Awesome.
welcome,
Thank
everybody.
you.
I'm going to mute everybody now.
Yeah.
Just so, I mean, let me make you co-host. Uh, all right. So, sharing my screen, and I believe tonight we're going to have some basic information about this project that's going to help us. Um, so we are talking about the Sollong project, right? Um, Fortunately, Mr. Entry and I had the opportunity to meet the CEO of the company directly in person to discuss the future of this project and how they intend to expand to the rest of the world. And what I like about it is that as much as this is a blockchain project, and it's also a decentralized network project, they also have physical products, which makes it very, very convenient for those of us who are very, risk averse, and also are kind of, um, you know, worried about the possibility of them going off in a short time. So this is a company that is investing heavily into physical infrastructure that will support the AI, Web3, gaming, um, industry. So you can imagine what this is because that industry, number one, is new. It's a new era that is springing up. A lot of people are just focused on the blockchain, but what some people are not realizing is that beyond the blockchain, there is a physical infrastructure that supports this whole project. It's just like, think about it like the telecommunication network, right? We have MTN, we have Vodafone, we have, you know, Airtel, Tigo, I don't Telecel. Telecel is which one? Vodafone, right? And then Airtel, Tigo. And they provide the network for communication. So most of us, when we think about like the telcos, we only think about the airtime, we think about the data services, and maybe we may think about mobile money. And as much as you think about it, everything looks like it's just online, right? It's just the online support that they provide. But there is something that makes every all of those things work. And there are some very unique companies that are providing those um, physical infrastructure that help to support this telecommunication network. So imagine, think about it in the sense of the telcos, right? Think about it to be able to make calls, right? It's not just about airtime. Why our calls are able to go through is because they are telecommunication masts, right, that have been mounted in various points with satellite dishes and all of those things. That's able to receive the signals and then transmit it into to other areas. So when you make the call, what makes the communication possible is the service, which is carried by those telecommunication masts. So there are companies that are actually specialized in building those masts, building those satellite, whatever this is, whether they use satellites or they use other gadgets, whatever it is, those cables, right? Talk about the internet. There are fiber optic cables that some people, some companies specialize in, right? And this is what we are talking about. So that when we are talking about the blockchain, mostly we just think about just the digital version, right? We think about just the fact that somebody is just creating some layer one online thing which you can invest in and blah blah blah. But Sollong is into the physical infrastructure. That's why they call it dipping, right? The decentralized physical infrastructure network. So they support, or their core business is in providing the physical gadget, the physical products, the physical structures that will support the whole network, which is the AI, the Web3, the blockchain, and the gaming industry, right? And so there's a very, very niche market, and there are very few companies in this particular space. And this is where Sollong finds itself. And being there, they are taking advantage of the fact that they own their own decentralized physical infrastructure network. And so why not come up with their own products within that same space, right? And that is how come we have this exciting project that allows us as individuals to now come on board this Sollong project and partner so that we can benefit from their growth and expansion across various networks. Now, this is our CEO, Mr. Richard. He has a banking background, so I won't go through all the details, but this is going to be available if you want to read about him and the other founders. There's so much information about them, but this is a very seasoned business entrepreneur with a track record of having worked in some of the very big banks in Asia and other parts of the world as well. And so you are talking about somebody who understands money, who understands the new era of money, which is cryptocurrency and the blockchain. And he is the CEO spearheading this. And this is the man Mr. Entry and I met in Dubai to discuss the future of this project, both in Africa and the rest of the world, right? And we're very happy with his responses. And we even like his whole demeanor because he's a very humble person, very open, and you can tell that he's very, very hardworking because when we're there, he had to have meetings back to back to back. He had very little sleep, right? But this is what opportunities, this is the opportunity that we had to actually speak to him personally, have that one-on-one interaction with him, right? Now, let's talk about Sollong, present, past, and the future. So this is the roadmap of Sollong so far, okay? Since they commenced, they actually started the whole project in 2024 with, because they had to lay the background or the foundation to the project. So they did the test net with multiple wallets and dipping roadmap in March of 2024. In April was a point system wallet integrations test. They did that in May. They did an airdrop list with Sol deposit, so Solana deposit, and they launched their dipping mobile as well. Then in June, the mobile AI development was launched. In July, they had the quant and swap with SOLG growth. In August, they had a global hardware cloud inference. In September, they enhanced the app with BNB support and AI tuning. In October, contracts and mobile AI upgrade. So they did the upgrade of the contract and mobile AI. And then they added the Ethereum CPI pool, right? So they kept adding on other networks. In November, they did a Sollong seller, which is the phones or the mobile gadgets. They started working on them. And then in December, they had major updates, dynamic return model. And then in January was the Trump CPI pool, which was added to the whole ecosystem. And they had over 150,000 plus stakers on the tool. So like literally the CPI went live in January this year. So we are talking about a very fresh, out of the oven kind of project that we have the opportunity to spearhead. We are one of the very first people in the world to actually know about this project at this moment. In fact, the majority of this 150,000 stakers came from China and other Asian markets. So currently, it's only China and few markets in Asia that actually are truly on board this project. Outside of that, they have very few people from other countries across the world that are on the project. And we are happy to be actually one of the very first people to know about the project and to be part of it. So let's talk about some more highlights about some of the things that they have done. So this is some of the partnerships that they already have. So they have very big partnerships with very notable organizations. Some of them, you may know them. You have the Google Cloud. You know Google, right? They have a Google Cloud Storage Center, and they are partners with Sollong for their decentralized storage. Okay, so they also partnered with NVIDIA that produces the graphic cards that supports AI and other gaming services, right? We have the Tonverse for AI gaming. They are partnering with them. In fact, you have so many. All of these names are very big names in the blockchain Web3 gaming industries, right? And you have them partnering with Sollong because of how amazing Sollong is, and in terms of the support and the value that Sollong brings to the table. All right. So moving forward, these are some of the events that have already taken place since the inception. Okay, so from 2024 to date, there have been several events that have taken place all across the world. So we have Sollong Asia Summit, which took off in April 2024, the Deepen Global Hardware Summit, also last year. We had the WebX Asia in Japan. Sollong was represented. Token 2049 is a very big event that happens every year. And this time was in Singapore. Sollong was represented. We had the KBW in Seoul, that's Korea. Also, Sollong was represented. We had the VC Horizon, co-hosted by Binance. And also in that event, which is very important, because if you're going to be in this blockchain space, one of the things is you need to get into these events. This is where you get your partnerships. This is where you're able to get the crypto enthusiasts and blockchain enthusiasts to come and see what you have and possibly partner with you. This is where you also sometimes get investors coming around, seeing what you have and taking interest in your project to invest heavily in them. So if you are actually in any of this kind of space, you need to be participating in events. So if you claim you have a blockchain project and your CEO or your company is not participating in any of these events, that's a red flag, right? It's a very big red flag. So for Sollong to literally be spotted and recognized and invited to some of these big summits that are happening across the globe, it tells you that Sollong has real something that is important or value for the community, and so they keep getting these invitations. So here are some of the gadgets that Sollong is already providing. Like I talked about, Sollong is into the dipping space, so they are not just about the blockchain, which is basically online, but they are also about the physical infrastructure that supports the blockchain, the Web3, and the gaming industry, also the AI industry. So we have our smartphones that can actually serve as nodes, okay? So they are not just phones. You can use it. In fact, this is one of the rarest. I don't think personally I have heard of a phone that actually can mine crypto, okay? Apart from the fact that you have just an app or something. But most of the nodes that I know, they are just machines sitting somewhere. They are just some computers sitting somewhere. But because Sollong is into graphic cards, the processing units that actually is used in mining crypto, that's what like literally Sollong's core business is. And so once they are into that, now they can modify them and then come out with gadgets like this, right? Where now with just your phone in hand, it is actually also a mining machine. So this is what Sollong is doing. And in the future, almost everybody will move away from this Android normal usual phones that, it basically takes money out of your pocket all the time into using gadgets like this that can actually earn you money as you are using them. And Sollong is taking the lead in that direction because they want to, in the future, be recognized as the number one, um, crypto mining gadgets or crypto mining company that provide gadgets that are able to mine crypto directly from your phone. And that's what they are doing. So they are already positioning themselves for that. And we are happy to be at the forefront of this business. So we have the S1. And interestingly, I have my copy here. Okay, I'm yet to open it. I hope you can see it, right? So when I'm looking to do a nice unboxing ceremony for this particular phone. So I'm not opening it yet. So I have the S1, which is about $500. And then we have the S3. I think this is the Fold. So again, this is a very high version. What you are seeing is actually a phone that can be folded. And I saw how it folds. It's very unusual. Most of the phones that fold, I think Samsung has one, and the glass can fold into two. But most of the phones I've seen that fold, they fold with the glass on the inside, right? The glass is on the inside, and then the back is the hardcover back. But this particular phone, the glass is on the outside. So when you fold it, the glass goes on the outside. However, once it's completely folded, half of the glass becomes black or changes color like the back of a phone. So if you see it, you think it's just a normal phone. But once you open it up, that back becomes a screen. And it's very, very interesting. I've never seen anything like that before. And it's because the glass is very, very durable. It's anti scratch and all of that. So you can actually have it on the back and it's completely safe, right? And then we have the S2, which is a higher version of the S1 that has very, very unique qualities. We can talk about that later. All right, so these are some of the things that we've achieved so far, some of our strength, growth, and proving data. So when we did the test net, or when Sollong did the test net last year, they had over 30 million wallet addresses that were created, right? It doesn't necessarily mean 30 million people, but 30 million wallet addresses, which means that the system was able to actually accommodate 30 million wallet addresses created within a short period. There was about 1.5 million app downloads that took place during that period. We had over 3 million DApp app browsing. We had 30 million plus fiat volume in terms of dollars that was invested into the project. Over 30,000 Stellar in terms of the phones. So over 30,000 units of the gadgets, the mobile phones were sold, right? Or have been sold already. Over 260 events across the world, including Ghana. There was an event, was it in March or February, in Ghana at the AH Hotel on Sollong. They had events in South Africa, they had events in Nigeria, and I know in Kenya also they had events. So truly, 260 events across the world. They have 30 million plus followers or subscribers on X. Okay, they had over 100,000 community members with 24/7 global engagement, and we are all part of that community. And they have over 30 partners, and we are talking about big names like Nvidia, like Realme, like Huawei that produces some of their mobile phones. All right, so these are some of the places that you can find Sollong members or Sollong communities. So we have Ghana, Nigeria, of course, South Africa, Spain, UK, Canada, US, Australia, Vietnam, China, Japan, and all those other places. Some of those places actually have physical offices. In Africa, we are going to have our the first ever physical office in Nigeria. So they've already secured the place. I hear it's going to be a complex with a warehouse and official residence for staff as well as office space for basically presentations and things like that, right? So this is very, very good. And this is the kind of company we are dealing with, right? Now, down with the global activities. So we are here at a very good time in front of a very good opportunity. So let's talk about the gadgets, okay? I know most of us, for the time being, we are just interested in the CPI, the investment part. We are not thinking about the gadgets. But in the future, if you get money, you should start thinking about getting one of these because it will be very nice. And I'll tell you something nice about the phones, right? So these phones are very high performing phones, right? So if you look at like the L Fold, for example, which are that's the luxury version of the S ones. This is a very luxury version of them. It's called the L Fold. So this particular one folds as well. Now, look at the RAM. The RAM alone is 16 gig. Can you imagine? Most of our phones, like the Samsung I'm using now, which is like a high performing Samsung phone, the RAM is 4 gig RAM. This one, right? But this one has a 16 gig RAM. So you can imagine how fast. And you can imagine the graphic work if you are kind of viewing things on it and sharing information or downloading things on this particular phone. You can imagine how fast it will be. And it has a memory space of 1 terabyte. Can you imagine? This is not a laptop, this is a phone. And you know, even the laptop I'm using, I think it has about 100 gig space. This is 1 terabyte. So you will download, you will take all the quality pictures, make all your videos, and you have a lot of space to last you almost, the entire lifetime of the phone. Because 1 terabyte, I don't know when you're going to finish it, right? But this is the kind of model you have. It has very high quality camera. Where is it? I wanted to talk about the camera. Okay, here, crystal clear telephoto, right? 50 megapixels. 50 megapixels on the back, on the front, and then 64 megapixels on the back camera. So you can imagine how your pictures will start looking, right? And these are some examples of shots that were taken with the same phone. It's almost like you use a very powerful camera to take these photos, right? But this is just from the phone. So this is very beautiful. And then we have our Lux L Pad. This is a tablet. So it's like the iPad. Again, all of these gadgets can also mine the LCOG coin for you. So as you are using it, it's actually also mining the LCOG coin for you for free, right? And then we also have our Visa card that literally allows you to transact directly from crypto into your fiat currency. So you can use it to pay for air tickets, you can use it to pay for food at the restaurant, for groceries, for anywhere where they take Visa, MasterCards, you can actually do this. But the beautiful thing about this particular cards is that it allows you to move the money directly from either USDT to make payments or even from Bitcoin, directly, right? It does direct transactions. And the beautiful thing is there are no charges when you are using a card. There are no charges when you are using a card. So it's going to be replacing your Visa card, because if you are using a normal Visa card from your banks, every transaction comes with a charge. I just paid for the Zoom subscription right now. I just did that before we started the call. And apart from what I was deducted for the charge, the bank itself is charging me because I use my Visa card to make the transaction, which is ridiculous, right? And in the future, all of this nonsense is going to stop. Yeah, and this is what we are getting towards. So the other gadgets that the company is going to bring, the smart band or the smart watches are already, the prototypes are out. when we're in Dubai, we saw the CEO actually wearing one, and he attests that it's ready. I mean, he just testing it, and then eventually to be available in the market. So hopefully, when the Nigeria office is open, we should be able to get some of these gadgets as well. We're going to have smart glasses. This is for the artificial, what do you call it? Artificial virtual reality, right? So this is more for gaming purposes, but it also has the hash power, which means that you can actually, as you are playing the game or you are wearing the watch, doing your exercise and all of those things, it will be mining the crypto, the SOLG coins for you. We'll also eventually have smart massage chairs. So as you are getting massage, you are also, earning or mining the SOLG tokens. Then we have the high performing miner as well. So this is what the traditional mining machines actually look like. They are like supercomputers you set up. It takes a lot of electricity though, but it can also mine crypto for you. And they actually have it. Okay. So very soon it's going to be available. So those of us who want to just have mining machines in our house and mine crypto, this is going to be available. Then also we have our blockchain, which is going to be eventually launched sometime in July or earlier. But hopefully by the end of the year, the blockchain is going to be launched and our cryptocurrency, the token is going to go live. All right. So this is where the conversation ends about the company. Basically, I've given you an overview about what this company is into and why they are, they provide such value in the Web3 space, in the AI space, and why they have a very big opportunity to succeed going forward, because this is the time for such things. And they've positioned themselves with a very unique in a very unique area, which is the dipping area, where very few companies talk about the dipping. Most companies talk about the blockchain, the layer ones, and all of that. But very few companies are into the physical infrastructure that is going to support all of this. And we are happy to be part of a company that has its core business in that. So now, from here, we now get into where we are now very interested, which is where we come in. Why do we now have to be part of this beautiful company with such a big vision and with such a valuable proposition in creating value in this ecosystem? And this is where we come in, right? So talking about the tokenomics, this is basically where they talk about how the tokens that they are going to have, or the company, the machines are going to mine, how it's going to be distributed. So a total supply, the max supply for the SOLG coins is 2.1 billion coins. That's the max supply. There can be, you won't be able to mine anything more than 2.1 billion. But out of that, this is how the coins are going to be distributed. So 49% of the total supply, or the max supply, is actually going to go into a black hole, which is technically, it means that it's going to be pulled out of the market and burned. So the good news about this is that it's going to create scarcity. So imagine that as you have mined the coins, right, and it's coming into the market, from time to time, as transactions are going on, as the value of the coin is going up, the company has put in place a mechanism that is going to actually burn away some of the coins that get to, let's say, the company is going to go away out of the system, such that there's going to be a natural scarcity that's happening. And for those of you who don't understand the power of this black hole, realize that with Bitcoin, the reason why every 4 years the price of the Bitcoin skyrockets is because Bitcoin has a halving mechanism every 4 years. So every 4 years, Bitcoin does some burning of some of the coins, such that there's scarcity of the actual Bitcoin that's available in the market. And because of that, it causes the price. When supply is low and demand is high, of course, the price is going to go up. And that is how Bitcoin within the last year was actually a halving year. And that's how come it's actually shot from, I think it went from like 20 something thousand dollars to over 100 and something thousand just last year, right? And it's because that's the, so in the next 4 years, Bitcoin price can go to $500,000 when the next halving happens. And that's why a lot of people are trying to hold on to Bitcoin as much as possible because of this mechanism, right? So we have a very beautiful strategy where almost half of the total supply of the coins is actually going to go into this black hole. And that's going to make the price of our coins very, very high. So if one of the things I tell people is that in participating in this project, you want to be able to hold as much SOLG coins as possible. I know right now there's opportunity for you to swap the SOLG coin, but the value now is about 0.001 or 00, I think 0.008 something. So it's almost 0.01. But that is too low for me, right? Because with that, you need to have like almost like 100,000 or 1 million coins before you can see $1,000. But what I want to do, I want to have enough coins such that if I'm able to keep even about 100,000 coins, and then one day, maybe 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, the price of the coin gets to just about $10, I'm a millionaire. If it gets to $100, I'm $10 million rich. If it gets to $1,000, I'm going to be a billionaire. And that is what I'm talking about, right? So you want to hold as much coins as possible. And what I also like about it is that the money that you invest in the CPI is not exchanged for the coin directly, like some companies do. Some companies are into blockchain. When you have to invest, your money is converted into their local token, and your interest or the return on investment is also paid in the token. So literally, it's like your money is locked in the token. You have to wait for the token price to go up before you can cash out. But in this project, just by participating, you actually earn in the currency you invested. So if you invest USDT, you earn USDT. If you invest Bitcoin, you earn in Bitcoin. However, by just participating, you are actually earning the SOLG coins every day for free as an additional earning based on your investment amount. So aside the fact that you are earning the CPI in the currency that you invested, you are earning the coins for free, right? So this is part of the project. And when you invest in the CPI, which is the computing power of the whole network, which allows you to basically generate return on investment every day, the average return on investment or the average daily yield is about 1%. However, they have a compounding mechanism in the system, which allows you to basically grow your income much faster than the 1%, which means that if you are just doing the 1%, by the end of the year, you would have only earned about 365% return on investment. However, because of the compounding effect, if you compound for the rest of the year, you will notice that your return on investment is about 3,000 plus percent. 3,000 plus percent, not 300, 3,000, right? And this is very, very powerful. Now you can also hold the SOLG coins and earn return on investment on that. And I see that currently some of you may have seen that they have added a new feature, which is called the AI RAM to the whole thing. This is where it's going. So there's going to be multiple opportunities within the same system for you to actually invest and earn return on investment. And one of them is just by holding the SOLG coins. So the SOLG coins that you are mining either from your phone or from your CPI or by getting referrals, right? If you are referring people to you, earn percentages on your downlines earnings. So basically, you'll be accumulating more and more SOLG coins. If the longer you hold those coins, you actually be earning return on investment on them, right? And that's beautiful. And they are going to, in the future, have other opportunities for us to stake our coins or stake other monies and then earn from the system based on the different mechanisms that they are going to introduce. So here is where we now get into the details about the CPI. Now, let me change from my slides to go to this Excel sheet that I've turned into an app to explain, right, how the CPI works. So generally, like we just said, when you invest in the CPI, you are literally going to be paid in the currency that you actually invested in. So if you did USDT, you are earning USDT. And you earn at least an average of 1% every single day, right? An average of 1% every single day. However, there's a caveat. And I'm going to explain to you, for those of you who do not understand it yet. I've done a few presentations about this, and I hope that those of you who have been part of my presentation, you probably understand it now. So in your back end, right, when you invest in the CPI, you see that every day, the 1% that is promised comes into an area that allows you to claim or compound. Now, advisedly, you are supposed to compound your money before you claim it, because the system that the Sollong is introducing is so unique and is so sustainable, but it's also so flexible, such that they do not necessarily lock your money that you invest like other companies do. Some companies, when you invest in their model, whether by staking or whatever, your money, your principal, your capital is locked maybe for a year, okay, depending on which package you go on, but mostly for a year, right? It's locked. And you only get access to that money when the year comes, okay, before you get access to your capital, right? Now, here in Sollong, it doesn't work like that. They don't lock your money. So literally, the only way they ensure that they have your money available to work or to transact, right, is that when you put in the money, the 1% that becomes claimable, if you take it without compounding it, you are literally saying that you don't want to, it's like saying that you don't want to continue with the project, you want your money back. So every day, 1% will be released and you can take that out. But anytime you take it out, it's taken from your principal that you invested, right? So if you want your income to grow before you do the withdrawal, then you want to compound. So by compounding, it allows your principal to keep growing and keep growing. And now when you are taking the 1% that comes in daily, you realize that your initial capital is still intact. It is only the profits or the returns that are accrued on it that you are taking out. And I'm going to explain it in this example. So here is my little worksheet, which basically explains the simulation. All right. So I'm assuming that, let's say you started this whole project with $100, $1,000. You can actually start with $100, but when it comes to the compounding, there are two requirements for the compounding. Number one is that the minimum amount that you can compound is $50. Number two is that the cycle for compounding is 7 days. Okay. So if you start with $100, which you can actually start with $100. It only means that you have to wait for 50 days before you can get $50, because 1% every day is $1. If you are doing $100, it's $1 every day. So before you can get $50 to compound, it will take you 50 days, right? Which is too long. Well, for me, right? Maybe for somebody who doesn't have that much money, it might be okay, right? But I think that is too slow, right? So yes, you can start with $100, you can start with $200, you can start with $300. All those amounts are okay. But if you really want to be able to start compounding from the very first week, then averagely you should start with a little over $700. When you start with $700, so let me give you an example here. Let me put $700 just to show you something. So when I put $700 here, you will notice that this is week 1, which is made up of 7 days. Your daily earnings will be $7, right? That's 1% of 700. So by 7 days time, you'd have earned $49. And $49 is not $50. So it means you have to go another day before you can compound, right? So $700 may be an okay point, but if you really want to do, maybe you can even do like 710 or let's say 750, but 710 will give you that. Oh, it's not even up to. Okay. So let me do 720 and see. So 720 is fine. So if you do 720, you can literally guarantee a weekly compounding, which can now grow your income. So if you do that, you notice that you can now grow your income very, very fast. And within a year, you would have had more than 33 times what you started with. So if you didn't withdraw, if you didn't claim, but you kept compounding every week, you kept compounding, your 720 by the end of the year become $24,000, which is powerful. Okay, but let's use $1,000 for our example, which is a reasonable rounded figure to start with. Okay, so assuming you start with $1,000, okay, you can do 10,000, you can do 5,000, you can do 3,000, you can do 60,000. Depends on your goal. It depends on how fast you want to grow your income and all of that, and the kind of project that you have in your mind. So I'm just using 1,000 for just this example. So with $1,000, okay, every day you're going to earn $10. For the first 7 days, you are getting $70. Now, what is we advise is this: when you take this $70 out, when you withdraw it, when you claim it, not withdraw, but when you claim it instead of compounding, it will take $70 out of this 1,000. So you'll be left with 930. And that's not what you want. You want your income to grow. So what you are supposed to do is to compound. So there's another button beside the claim button, which is compound. Once you click it and you confirm the compounding, it will now add $70 to your initial $1,000. So the total principal now becomes $1,070. So in the following week, which is the second week, you will now be earning 1% of this amount, which is 10.70. Now, if you do that for a week, that will be 74.90. Now you can choose to compound again, which will now add this to this, and then you now have 1,144.90. So if you keep compounding, okay, you can keep compounding for the rest of the year. Every week, you just set an alarm. Once every week, the week ends, and you have more than $50, you just compound. If you do that for the whole year, your total CPI will be 33,725, which is more than 33 times what you started with. You start with 1,000, but by the end of the year, you have 33,000. Now, guess what? If I put 33,000 here, which means we are assuming that you are going 2 years without claiming, right? You are just going to compound for 2 years. Watch what happens. You started with $1,000, but by 2 years' time, your $1,000 now becomes $1.1 million. So with $1,000 in Sollong, you can actually become a millionaire in just 2 years, which is short, right? 2 years will come just now, right? This is the power of compounding with Sollong. And this is why I am particularly very excited. And it's a very, very sustainable system that they put in place, which it pays you gradually, but it pays you very powerfully. Now, some of us might say that maybe I don't have money, or personally, my job doesn't even pay me much. So I'm looking for something that can supplement my income. So I wish I can invest, and then maybe every month or every 2 weeks, I can take something out. It's possible. So let's do that scenario as well. So I'm going to put in 1,000 here again. And I'm going to say, let's change this zero claiming. So your claiming strategy now is now going to be, let's say we use 2 weeks compounding, and then you take the third week. Okay, so this is going to be your strategy where you compound for 2 weeks. Okay, so you compound for 2 weeks and claim the third week. Okay, so that's a 3 weeks strategy. Every 3 weeks you claim. Every 3 weeks you claim. Now, what would that do? So same thing. First week, you are getting $10 a day, $70 your first week. You compound, it becomes 1,070. In the second week, you are now earning 10.70. By the end of the week, you have 70.90. You compound again, you get 1,144.90. Now, in the third week, you are now getting 11.45 a day. And by the end of the week, you have 80.14. But this time, you will claim that one. So when you claim it, it will take it from the 1,144 and you'll be left with 1,064, right? So this is what you have. Then this is the new amount that will now be generating the daily returns. So this one will now give you 10.65, then 70.53 by the end of the week. You compound again, you will now get 11.39. Then at the end of the week, 79.75, you compound. But the third week from there, you claim, and you'll be claiming 85.33. So you notice that if you are using the 3-week strategy, every 3 weeks, the amounts you'll be claiming will be higher and higher and higher. However, your principal will also be growing from 1,000 to 1,064 to 1,133 to 1,207 and so forth and so on. So by the end of the year, what you notice is that you started with $1,000, right? You have been claiming every 3 weeks. So by the end of the year, your total amount that you would have claimed from the system is $2,358. However, you will still have 3,109 in the CPI, which you can continue to compound and still withdraw money from. So you start with 1,000, you've already taken 2,000, but you still have 3,000 in the system to continue compounding and earning. You can also have a monthly strategy where you compound for 3 weeks and then you withdraw the 4th week, right? That's also a beautiful strategy, especially for people who have like a job mindset, or they don't have a job, or they want to feel like they are receiving salary, right? So that way you compound for 3 weeks without claiming, and then the 4th week you claim. So if you notice, that also allows you to claim higher earnings every day, every month. However, your CPI also grows a much faster rate. So by the end of the year, what you notice is that your total amount that you'd have claimed will be 2,738, almost 3 times what you started with. But you will still have $5,448 in the CPI to continue earning. You can also have a 5-week strategy where you compound for 4 weeks and then you claim the 5th week. Same thing, right? You'll notice here that you now have more money to claim at the end of the 5th week, at the end of the 10th week, at the end of the 15th week, and so on and so forth. By the end of the year, you would have claimed a total of $2,617, but you will have $8,297 in your CPI. So the choice is really yours. It depends on your personal goal. It depends on your personal strategy. Now, this is where you get to choose, right? Now, let me return to my slides and now talk about the other side, how you can benefit from referrals. So again, this is for people, in fact, for all of us, right? Because whether you are going to refer or not, you can actually enjoy the benefits of the CPI. You're going to earn your USDT or your Bitcoin, whatever you invested, but you're also going to get the Sollong coins for free. Now, this other part is for those who would like to share this good news with other people and bring other people on board to come and invest. Because, I mean, we are We care about others as well. We don't want to be selfish. So once we see that this is good, we want to be sharing with other people. And the good news about that is that in doing just that, you get the opportunity to even earn more income. Okay, there is this community incentive that you get to enjoy by referring other people to the project. But for you to benefit from the community incentives, you must at least have $300 in your CPI. So for those of you who do $100, $200, you will not be immediately qualified until you have $300 in your CPI, right? So that starts with $300. Okay, so with that, if you have $300 in your CPI and you refer people, regardless of whoever you are referring, once they make an investment and they are earning daily, you will earn 2% of whatever they are earning as an additional bonus to you. So aside your own CPI that you are earning, when these people earn their CPI, the people you brought in, when they earn their CPI, you will get 2% of it. And then you also get 5% of the LCOG coins that they are earning. 5%. Now, when you become an S1, how do you become S1? All you need to do is to have 750 personal CPI, okay? $750 in your CPI. And your total team volume, what it means that all the investment that your total team, your downlines have done should be at least $3,000. Once you achieve this, you are S1. And now you can earn 5% of your direct referrals earnings and then 10% of their Sollong, of their SOG coins. That's beautiful. For S2, you need $1,200 personal investment or personal amount in your CPI, and then 6,000 group volume. With that, you get 8% on direct referrals, 15% on their SOG. S3 is 1,500 for you, 12,000 for your team. You get 11% here and get 20% on the SOG coins. So you can see that just by referring, you are actually accumulating a lot of SOG coins. S4 is 2,400 for yourself, 24,000 for your team, and you get 14% on the direct referrals earnings, and then you also get 25% of their SOG coins. S5 is 3,750 for you and 45,000 for your team. You get 17% and then 30%. Now, the beautiful thing about these first few ranks that you have seen is that you can actually achieve it with just one person in your downline. So assuming you introduce somebody and the person comes on board with $45,000, and you yourself, you have 3,750 in your personal wallet or in your personal CPI, you are automatically an S5. Automatically. So with the first few ranks, you can actually achieve it with just one person. However, going from S6 to S10, you need a minimum of 2 people. A minimum of 2 people to be able to achieve that. And the reason is that for S6, you need 2 of the people you have referred in your downline to become S5 as well, before you can become an S6. And when you get to S6, you now get 21% of direct referrals earning. And remember, these earnings are earned every single day. So it's not like other companies where the direct referral bonus is paid one time. This one is paid every day. So every day as your downlines are earning, you are also earning 21% of their earnings. And you also earn 35% of their SOG coins. Now, S7 is 7,500 for you. Then you need 2 S6 in your downline. Once you achieve this, you earn 25% direct referral bonus and then 40% of their SOG coin. S8 is $12,000 for you, 2 S7s in your downline, and the rest of your legs. So this is where you need at least more than 2 direct referrals. You need at least 3 or more, right? So at least 2 of them should be S7, but the rest of the legs, so if you have 10 people you have directly referred, all those other 8 people with their teams should produce a minimum of $120,000 and you become an S8. With that, you earn 29% of your total direct referrals earnings, and you also earn 45% of their SOLG coins. Now, S9 is 22,500 for yourself. You need two S8s in your downline, and then you also need the rest of your legs to produce a minimum of $900,000 in investments. When you're able to achieve that, it's 34% direct referrals for you, and then 50% of their SOLG coins for you. Then S10, which is the highest so far, and I understand that a lady in China has already achieved this, so they are trying to create more ranks for her, okay? You need to have a personal CPI of $45,000, and your downlines should have at least two S9s in the team, with the rest of the legs having 1.2 million USDT in investments. If you're able to achieve that, you get 39% of your direct referrals earning. So imagine that. So it means if somebody in your downline has $10,000 in investment, and every day he's making $100 every single day, right? You'll be getting $39 every single day because you are S10. And whatever they are getting in LCLG coins, you are getting 60% of that in in addition to your own LCLG coins. So this is very beautiful, and you can see the potential to withdraw. You have the possibility to withdraw from $1,500 daily, depending on your rank, to about $3 million every single day, right? So it's very, very flexible. There's no real restriction on the account. You can actually withdraw all your money as much as possible. Now, this is the dipping mobile phones, which, like I told you, they are notes. They can actually mine coins for you. And this is what the final thing I'm going to share with you on this. And it's the fact that the S1, the Sollong S1, the one I have here, is actually $500. And you get to, when you buy it, you get to get a card that has a hash rate of 500, which can actually mine 1,800 SOLG token, ASOLG token. And that 1,800 SOLG token can be used to activate the CPI. So when you are able to use the phone for some time, and it's able to completely mine this 1,800 ASOG coins, you can now use that to activate the CPI for $500. So it means that after buying the phone and using it for some time, literally your $500 becomes available as CPI for you, and you now start earning on it every single day. So eventually the phone itself becomes free. So that is why a lot of people are actually buying the phones as well, because the gadget is nice, it's fast performing, it's high premium quality product, and it's a flex to have. And on top of that, it eventually becomes free because you're able to mine enough coins that is able to pay for the CPI up to the tune of whatever you invested. Now, S2, Sollong S2 is $1,500, and it also gives you a hash rate of 1,500 with the ability to mine up to 5,000 ALCOG coins, which you can actually use to also activate the CPI for the phone, which means now the phone becomes free because you now have $1,500 as in your CPI to start earning 1% on it every day. Now, the other one, the S3, is $3,000. Again, that also gives you a hash rate of 3,000 and the total ability to mine ALCOG coins up to 10,000 coins, which will eventually be used to activate the CPI for the phone up to $3,000. So it means literally the phone becomes free. You have $3,000 in your CPI, and going forward, you can make 1% of it every single day. So this is what we have as a project, which is very solid. Some of you are already on board. You can see the interface, and you can already see that a number of beautiful things are being added to the ecosystem that is actually going to make us a lot of money. So on this note, I'm going to end here. and I'm going to hand over back to our boss. I wanted to do a little demonstration of how the app works, but I think I'll leave that for the question time. Maybe when we are answering the questions, I should be able to show you how the app looks like and how we can benefit from it. So Vice P, if you are available, please take over and let's see if there are any questions people have. Let's address them before we. All right. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Very, very, very powerful presentation, Sir Tchidi Tchorly. I've really, really enjoyed it. The way you took your time to explain the whole project and everything is so powerful. And I can't thank you enough.